Welcome to Heal the New Sexy, where we discuss all things healing, self-love, and relationships for millennial women. My name is Samithia. I am a licensed therapist. Today, I want to talk about the sexualization of women and young girls. Over these past 2 weeks, I have seen a lot of chatter and conversation about Blue Ivy, and I just want to talk about that. I feel like the conversation has been very negative. It's been very shameful. And so I want to first start off by defining what sexualization is. So sexualization is the act of emphasizing a person or behavior's sexual nature or reducing someone to a sexual object. It can occur when a person's value is based solely on their sexual appeal or behavior, or when they are held to unrealistic beauty standards. Sexualization can also involve inappropriately imposing sexuality on someone, especially children. Women and girls may learn to view themselves as objects for others' desires rather than people with their own thoughts and feeling. Sexualization can have negative consequences, including distorted understanding of gender relationships, unhealthy and unrealistic portrayals of young people, and mental health disorders. The reason why I want to discuss this is because I grew up with a lot of sexualization. I believe that sexualization is really targeted towards girls that are in puberty, and then women who grow up with bodies who I'm going to describe as seen as vulgar. All right. And what I mean by vulgar, I want you to think of the women who are very curvy, right? Their bodies are sexualized more than girls and women who may not have breasts, who don't have hips, or don't have big thighs, or don't have big butts. I remember being in high school, and there was a young woman. She was a Pacific Islander, and they were doing that test, right? If your skirt is if you put your arms out to your side and your skirt and your shorts are longer than that, then it was appropriate. And so I remember at this particular point, the gym teacher did the finger, I think they call it the finger test or whatever. And she passed it. And I looked at it because I was standing there. I said, if I wore that same skirt, I would have to go home. Because she was wearing a mini skirt. We all back in the 99s and the 2000s. Britney Spears and who was it? Christina Aguilera. That was at the time where they wore the jeans and they were low rise. And so I stood right there and I said, if I had that same skirt on, you would send me home. Because truth of the matter, even dress codes aren't fair, right? If your body is a certain shape, if you have hips and thighs, you can't go to skirt wear. You can't go to school, or you weren't able to go to school with a mini skirt on, which is appropriate, right? I'm not advocating for us going to school wearing certain things, but to think that to police one body versus another is wrong, right? I think of even going to church, and I think of the concept of modesty, because you don't want to draw sexual attention. One woman can wear a dress, a bodycon dress, and if she's thin and not curvy, she's not seen as a distraction. But let a curvy woman wear a bodycon dress and she's seen as a distraction in the church. Well, really, we should be focused on God anyway, because you can see those same two women outside and you wouldn't call them a distraction. We have to really address the sexualization of Black girls and Black women, because it dates back to slavery. There's racism involved, sexism involved. If you think about Britney Spears, when she did Hit Me Baby One More Time, she was 15 years old. She was wearing that schoolgirl outfit, that little skirt. Her shirt was tied, and nobody batted an eye. When Christina Aguilera said, I'm a genie in a bottle, baby, right? We saw it again with Miley Cyrus. We see white women able to have a level of sexual liberation that Black women can't. There was a study that showed at the age of 5 that Black girls were seen as less innocent compared to white girls. We have to address it, and the way we address it is not through shame. The way we address it is through education. So when Blue Ivy was up there, I think it was at the Mufasa premiere, and she had her sweetheart neckline on, dress all the way down to the floor. And I saw women talk about how that was inappropriate, that she needed a little spaghetti strap. Now, let's be for real. What is a spaghetti strap gonna do? What is that little spaghetti strap gonna do to that dress? Or it should have been a cross. I heard it described, it was a plunging neckline. Her mama had on a plunging neckline. She did not. We have to address our projection and have to address ourselves. Many of us grew up being sexualized. Many of us grew up and you have to go in front of the family, be like, oh, turn around. Oh, you growing up. No. Many of us grew up feeling shame because of our breasts, because of our hips, because of our butt, versus us being taught how to address racism, sexism, the ideas of slavery. Even in slavery, I was reading a book. I have to, one second, I found it. It's called Stolen Women, Reclaiming Our Sexuality, Taking Back Our Lives by Dr. Gale. I was reading this book, and she talked about in slavery when a young woman began to hit puberty and her mother noticed that the slave master was taking interest in her, how the mother will begin to disparage her with her words, how the mother will begin to talk about how stupid she was and how dumb she was. And she did this as a form of protection. And so I understand that what is truly happening is that Black women around the world are trying to protect Blue Ivy. We're trying to protect her innocence. But the truth of the matter is we're going about it in an unhealthy way. We are. What we're doing is we're eliciting shame. What we're doing is that we're being hypercritical, and we're doing it from a place of love. Not really. We're doing it from a toxic place. We call it love, but it's really toxic, because what we're trying to do is we want to protect her from people who are going to be predators. Instead of addressing her, what we need to really do is do the grassroots work of addressing the predators that we all know. Because many of us grew up with the predators, the uncle that you had to hug, but it made you feel uncomfortable, or the uncle or the cousin that will watch you. We have to address them. What we don't do is shame and embarrass little girls, because many of us had to deal with that. Many of us struggle with our bodies now because of the things that were said to us about our bodies growing up. Many of us engage in unhealthy behavior, such as overeating, in order to make ourselves less attractive. Many of us wear the certain clothes that we wear, or we don't wear certain colors because we don't want to draw attention, because we have this belief, this internalized belief, that we want to avoid sexual attraction. And we don't want to avoid it because, how do I say this? We want to avoid negative attention, and that makes sense. But we are avoiding it from a place of shame and guilt, because we feel the way our body was developed as if there was something wrong. We are always, as Black women, trying to prove our innocence, trying to prove our purity, and that's something that's automatically given to our white and Hispanic counterparts. They automatically get that they're pure. They automatically get that they have this sexual freedom and this sensuality. That's why we saw Miley Cyrus go from twerking to and being on a wrecking ball and swinging half naked to now she can go back, and nobody bats an eye. But we see people like Meg Thee Stallion. We see her twerking. We see the things she's doing. She won't get the same level of respect if she should decide to all of a sudden change and become modest. I think that's also why people fight when women go, when women attempt to be modest. Let's say they came out, and we see this with content creators, right? They come out, they wear certain clothes, and all of a sudden they want to be more modest, and people don't respect that. That's because we have been sexualized, and we have to address that. All of us aren't going to dress like Mammy from Gone with the Wind. And that's something that Dr. White talks about. She talks about those that are seen as Jezebels, those women that are seen as mammies. And if you're seen as a Jezebel, how the world has sexualized you. You could be a beautiful woman. I remember growing up, and there was a young lady who, married with children in church, and they would ridicule her because of the makeup that she wore. because of the color of the lipstick that she wore. Now, I never saw her wear red. She would wear these pretty pink colors. She would wear the matching eyeshadow. Like, that was her thing. But it was seen as a distraction. Now, at that time, they were wearing choir robes, but it was seen as a distraction. And I used to question, because that's terrible English, but as a child, why did I know that? Why did I know that her makeup was seen as a distraction? Why was it that her makeup was so off-putting? And the truth of the matter is that it truly wasn't. She was being sexualized. It was seen that she was attempting to draw sexual attention, when the truth of the matter is she just liked makeup, and she still does to this day. Because if you see any picture of her, she has her makeup on. We have to address the internalized isms that we have. We have to address the internalized shame and the guilt, and we have to stop projecting it on children and women who may or who are just living their life. We have to stop assigning sex to them. We have to stop trying to define their sexual expression, because it belongs to them. Their sensuality, their sexuality belongs to them. A Black woman going through puberty is a sign, and it's very triggering to many, because they know what that comes with. They feel like she's going to be hurt. They feel like that someone's going to take advantage of her because of their own experiences. We have to address our own experiences, and we have to heal from them. And then we have to educate the next generation. Not shame them. Educate them and protect them. I know that some of you may find this video very triggering, and I didn't create this video to upset you, but I created this video to address what I'm seeing, to address the issue that we have to address in our community. If we're going to be healthy, as it relates to our self-esteem and our confidence, we have to address our sexualization in media and culture, and also the church. Okay? I would love to hear from you below. I would love to hear your thoughts about this video. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.